basically what we're going to start with is the Gahan house itself was began by a gentleman named John Gahan is where the name came from. The Gahan is not a popular Turks name at all.
He's unique.
He's very unique, yeah. He had a shop. Are you familiar with the Charlottetown area at all?
We're going from Ontario, brother. We don't know much.
Do not know much, yeah. It's the Sims Steakhouse, which is down the corner, 2 buildings down, which is also a Murphy building. It's the original site where John Gahan was a merchant. He had teas, linens, and fine wines.
Making a buck.
Making a buck. Trying to make a buck. And then he made more bucks than he expected, I guess, at the end of the day. So he had to move shop. So he lived and shopped in the same spot. Like his shop was in his house, needed more room, so he just made the shop.
That's the way things are done, yeah.
Oh, it worked. So then he moved here. And they bought this, him and his wife.
This building here?
Yeah, this building here. So the majority of it is all original brick down here.
Yeah.
Sweet.
They obviously renovated quite a bit upstairs. Following his passing, his wife realized that there wasn't too much room for the two of them, or for just her to remain. So she moved out and sold the spot and remained dormant for a little bit. And in the early 1900s, it became a hospital. So it was part of a hospital, as well as a convent. So the church behind us, the big Catholic church, of course, with the basilica, it's nuns, I guess.
You over to the lighted area?
Yes. We're over here, so this is where they stayed. So they actually tended a large part to the hospital. And that went on for a few decades. In the 60s, it kind of became dormant. It was dormant for a few years, up until the end of the 1990s when the Murphys bought it. Now, the brewery itself started out off-site at a restaurant called Lone Star Cafe. And it was a Lone Star restaurant, and they just had a little brewery in there, a few fermenters, and a mash tun and a kettle. And they were making just a couple of the pale beers. They made, I think,
the popular ones,
the Honey Wheat Rule, just to try them out.
They're great beers. Yeah.
And they are delicious beers, but they
excellent.
weren't willing to quite go out on a limb just yet and try some of the other ones. So they did that, realized there was a large following of people who
There's a
wanted
market for local beer, yeah.
it became really popular really quickly, so then they moved here, and they moved it into this spot around 2000, and they had to cut a hole in the ceiling floor and roof to crane
piping,
lower all the stuff.
All of the tanks?
Yeah, everything had to be crane lowered, so it went right through the
Wicked, nice.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to watch them lowering these big fermenters and like wheeling it out. And then from there, it's just been the restaurant. It's by far the most lucrative of all the Murphy's restaurants.
It's been wonderful, sir. Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool area. It's just got a good camaraderie type feeling as well. You know, the layout, the staff, the fact that you're drinking brew downstairs, it has its own like niche feeling, and it's a good.
Absolutely.
I think that's what sets it apart from a lot of the other restaurants in the city. And you know, it's not necessarily an upper class.
Okay. Do you think you're getting a lot of the locals versus a tourist industry who will come in and want to drink local?
Well, the thing is, the tourist industry is actually, for instance, last night I did a brew tour, and a couple from Barrie, Ontario, and they mentioned that they heard in Barrie from friends that you're going to PEI, first spot you got to go for Prime.
So you're getting a strong word of mouth.
So you get a strong word of mouth that's traveled further than just
the borders of the province.
So it's borders of the province, and I mean, it's a local watering hole for actually a lot of the white collar people tend to water here because the Murphys are philanthropists from the area, so their brothers both high net worth, so they have a certain group of friends who either here or Sims, but Sims is a fancy kind of large.
You hit here first. We were coming in black.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sims is more fancy and it's a larger menu and it's a little more posh. Where this has a proper menu. It's not. They're not trying to be a restaurant. Like they're not trying to be a foreign restaurant.
But do you find a strong local market during the off season of the tourism is keeping the business up?
Yeah, absolutely. They've had the busiest time. The busiest nights of this place are not in summer.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, the highest.
In the winter.
The highest grossing of a night.
Brilliant.
It's been in fall actually.
Did you find the Royals arriving in town affect the business at all?
Yesterday was really busy, but I was thinking to myself.
Was that just more people in the city?
I think it was just more people in the city, because I was looking around and I did not think these people were like royal followers. They were just like
here for
one
fun.
of them in general, like gentlemen just like yourselves, out having a pint. And I don't think
hard to know.
It's hard to know. It's true. I mean, some people really are royal bound. I didn't quite get
We stumbled on them ourselves. Hey, they're in Somerset. Oh, we're in Somerset. Let's go down. Take a look.
I mean, it's worth seeing. I had two of my really good friends were in the dragon boats with them.
No shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
cool.
I mean that's pretty cool. One of my good friends on the cover of People Online, like People Magazine's website, the front page of it has him like in the boat, like kind of looking off into the distance.
Okay. Are you running out of battery?
No, I just need to close